Have you ever spent months carefully growing tomato seedlings, only to watch them struggle the second they touch the garden soil? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into the absolutely crucial steps you must take the day before planting your tomatoes. I promise you by the end of this video, you will learn bizarre but highly effective secrets that most amateur gardeners completely ignore. Here is a wild paradox for you. The best thing you can do for your plants 24 hours before putting them in the ground is actually to make them a little bit miserable. It sounds crazy, right? But stick around because I am going to reveal a controversial watering secret that will save your plants from snapping in half. I want you to drop a comment right now. Do you usually pamper your plants right until the end, or do you treat them tough? Let me know, and let us see who is right. Before we get into the exact steps, let us quickly set the stage and understand why this 24-hour window is so critical. Tomatoes are originally tropical plants hailing from the warm regions of South America. They absolutely despise cold weather, sudden changes in their environment, and especially having their roots disturbed. When you take a tomato plant from a cozy, climate-controlled house or a protected greenhouse and shove it into the unpredictable outdoor dirt, it experiences a massive physiological shock. Historically, old-world farmers understood that preparation was half the battle, but modern gardeners often rush the process to get it over with. We sometimes treat seedlings like inanimate objects, just moving them from point A to point B. But these are sensitive, living organisms. The day before transplanting is the vital bridge between their sheltered early life and their harsh adult life in the garden. Understanding and mastering this transition is the ultimate key to unlocking an explosive, disease-free harvest. Are you ready for the very first step? Let us talk about the grand finale of hardening off your plants. You have probably been taking your seedlings outside for a few hours a day, but the day before planting is the ultimate test. It is like the final exam for your little green friends. You need to leave them outside for a full 24 hours, including the night. But wait, here's the secret. You must put them in the exact spot where they will be planted. This lets them experience the precise wind patterns, sun angles, and night temperatures of their permanent home. Think of it like a dress rehearsal for a play. If they droop slightly, do not panic. This is completely normal. We are actually busting a huge myth here. Many gardeners think plants should be perfectly pampered until the moment they go into the ground. That is totally wrong. A tiny bit of stress right now builds incredible resilience. It thickens their main stem and prepares their root system for the shock of transplanting. So, find that perfect garden spot, set your pots down, and let them face the elements. Just make absolutely sure there is no frost warning for tonight. If the temperature looks safe, let them brave the night alone. This one simple step guarantees they will not collapse in shock when you finally bury their roots in the dirt tomorrow. Now let us move on to something that tricks almost everyone. I am talking about the art of pre-transplant watering. You might think you need to flood your pots the day before. Actually, you need to do the exact opposite. You want to withhold water for about 12 to 18 hours before the big move. Why in the world would you dehydrate your precious plants? It sounds crazy, right? But here's the brilliant logic behind it. When a tomato plant is slightly thirsty, its stem becomes flexible and rubbery. If it is full of water, the stem is crisp and snaps easily. When you are wrestling with these plants tomorrow, trying to get them out of their pots and into the ground, you want them to be flexible. A snapped stem is a gardener's worst nightmare. I once lost 3 of my most expensive heirloom varieties because they were overwatered and brittle. Do not make my mistake. Let the soil in the pots dry out just enough so the plant looks slightly relaxed. It should not look completely dead, just a little less rigid. Then, right before you actually plant them tomorrow, you will give the roots a quick soak. This method ensures your plants bend instead of breaking during the rough handling of transplanting. It is a game changer for keeping your seedlings perfectly intact. So what is happening with the soil where these tomatoes are going? You cannot just dig a hole tomorrow and hope for the best. The day before planting is when you must prepare the bed, and specifically, you need to warm it up. Tomatoes absolutely hate cold feet. If you put them into chilly dirt, their growth will stall for weeks. To fix this, you need to use the black plastic trick. Lay a sheet of black plastic or a dark tarp over your prepared garden bed today. The dark color absorbs the heat from the sun and traps it deep inside the soil. It is like putting an electric blanket over your garden. By tomorrow afternoon, that soil will be nice and toasty. Let me give you a quick illustration. Imagine jumping into a freezing cold swimming pool versus stepping into a warm bath. Which one makes you relax and stretch out? Your tomato roots feel the exact same way. If you skip this step, you're risking a condition called purple stem, which happens when roots cannot absorb phosphorus due to cold soil. So grab some heavy stones, pin down that dark plastic, and let the sun do the heavy lifting today. Your tomatoes will reward you by immediately pushing out new roots the second they touch that comfortably warm earth tomorrow. Here is a critical task you absolutely must complete 24 hours in advance. It is time for a little surgery. You need to trim the lower leaves off your tomato seedlings. Do not do this right as you plant them. Why? Because cutting the plant creates an open wound. If you snip the leaves and immediately bury the stem in damp, microbe-filled soil, you are practically inviting fungus and disease to destroy your plant. By cutting those bottom sets of leaves today, you give the plant a full 24 hours to heal and form a protective scab over the wound. You want to snip off any leaves that are in the bottom 3 to 4 inches of the stem. We are going to bury these stems deep tomorrow, so those leaves have to go anyway. Use a pair of clean, sterilized scissors. Do not just pinch them off with your dirty fingernails. I want you to imagine you are a surgeon prepping a patient. Clean cuts heal faster. This simple trick prevents soil-borne diseases from entering the vascular system of your tomato plant. It is a brilliant preventive measure that takes only 5 minutes today, but saves you months of headache fighting blight and rot later in the summer. Just snip, let it dry, and your plant will be completely waterproofed and ready for the dirt tomorrow. Let us talk about the secret recipe for the planting hole. You should mix this up today, not tomorrow. When you are holding a fragile plant in one hand, you do not want to be fumbling with bags of fertilizer with the other. Create your custom nutrient blend right now. You will need a scoop of high-quality compost, a handful of worm castings, and a tablespoon of bone meal for calcium. Calcium is the magic ingredient that prevents blossom end rot later on. Mix these together in a bucket today. But here is the controversial part. Many old-school gardeners swear by putting a raw fish head or cracked eggshells directly into the hole. Let us debunk that right now. Whole eggshells take months, sometimes years, to break down. Your plant will not get any calcium from them this season. And raw fish? That is just an open invitation for raccoons and stray cats to dig up your fresh seedlings tonight. Instead, stick to processed bone meal or liquid calcium that the roots can absorb immediately. By prepping your nutrient mix in a bucket today, tomorrow becomes incredibly easy. You will just dig your hole, drop in a scoop of your pre-made super mix, and place the plant. It saves time, reduces stress, and guarantees every single plant gets the exact same perfect start. Now we must address the invisible enemies waiting in your garden. The day before planting is the perfect time to apply a gentle, organic pest barrier to your seedlings. Once they are in the ground, bugs will immediately smell them and come running. You want to coat the leaves with a protective shield today while they are still in their pots. Mix up a weak solution of cold-pressed neem oil and water with a tiny drop of mild dish soap. Spray the tops and, more importantly, the undersides of the leaves. Let them dry completely in the shade before putting them back in the sun. If you spray them tomorrow after planting, the combination of transplant shock and the heavy oil could smother the leaves. Doing it 24 hours in advance gives the oil time to absorb and create an unappetizing taste for aphids and flea beetles. It is like putting armor on your soldiers before sending them to the front lines. I remember one year I skipped this. I planted 30 healthy tomatoes, and by the next morning, flea beetles had turned the leaves into Swiss cheese. I was absolutely devastated. A simple preemptive spray today acts as an invisible force field. It gives your plants a fighting chance during their most vulnerable first week out in the wild garden. You might not think about this next step, but it is absolutely essential. You need to gather and sterilize your support equipment today. I am talking about your tomato cages, wooden stakes, and tying twine. If you used these stakes last year, they are probably covered in microscopic fungal spores just waiting to attack your new plants. Take a bucket of water with a little bleach or hydrogen peroxide and wipe down your cages and stakes. Leave them in the hot sun today to completely dry and sanitize. Furthermore, lay them out exactly where they need to go in the garden. When you plant your tomatoes tomorrow, you must install the cage or stake at the exact same time. If you wait a week to put the cage in, you will drive the metal spikes right through the expanding root system, crippling your plant. It is a rookie mistake that stunts growth instantly. Having everything clean and placed by the planting holes today means tomorrow is just an assembly line. You plant, you cover, you place the cage. No running around looking for the mallet. No searching for the twine. This level of organization turns a chaotic planting day into a smooth, enjoyable, and highly professional operation. Finally, we reach the most critical check of all. You must become a weather stalker. I do not mean just looking at tomorrow's forecast. You need to deeply analyze the 10-day weather trend. The day before planting is your last chance to hit the brakes. Tomatoes need the nighttime temperatures to stay consistently above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. If you see a random night dipping down to 40 degrees 5 days from now, do not plant tomorrow. Hold off, keep them in their pots. Many enthusiastic gardeners rush to get their plants in the ground on the first warm weekend, completely ignoring the upcoming week. The soil cools down rapidly during cold nights, and cold soil locks up phosphorus, turning your plants purple and halting their growth entirely. It is much better to keep a tomato in a pot for an extra week than to subject it to a cold snap in the ground. Use multiple weather apps. Look at the historical averages for your specific zip code. If the coast is truly clear, then you have the ultimate green light. By making this final analytical check today, you protect all your hard work. You ensure that when your plants go into the ground, they will do nothing but thrive and explode with massive green growth. And there you have it, the ultimate plot twist. The most important day of a tomato plant's life is actually the day before it goes into the dirt. Who would have thought that slightly dehydrating them, performing leaf surgery, and warming the earth with black plastic could completely alter the fate of your garden? By preparing the soil, perfectly timing your nutrients, and setting up an invisible pest barrier, you are guaranteeing a massive, heavy harvest. You are no longer just hoping for the best, you are engineering success. So, to sum it all up, harden them off, dry them out, trim the leaves, and check that 10-day forecast one last time. Thank you so much for watching and spending your time with me today. If you found these secrets helpful, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a huge like, and leave a comment below. I have a question for you. What is your absolute favorite variety of tomato to grow, and have you ever made a huge mistake on planting day? Let us share our stories and learn from each other down in the comments section. See you in the next video.